Welcome everyone to this week's IBI Coffee and Talk session. We're delighted today to have Dr. Viviana Bastidas here, and today she is going to be discussing a value-centric approach for circular business model innovation. So I'll hand over to you, Viviana.
Thank you very much, Grace. So welcome everyone. So this week we are going to talk about our project in the Innovation Value Institute that is called Vision. The main topic is about circular economy and circular business models for Ireland. And our project is a value-centric approach for circular business model innovation that we call the Vision project. So we want to introduce you the topic, the concept, what is behind of this project. We're focusing on the circular business models for Ireland. So why it's important to have this approach of implementation for the different companies in Ireland, and whereas IBI, we are looking at helping the different companies for this implementation. So here we have some examples and definitions on the circular economy and the circular business models. So we know that the circular economy approach aims to reshape the resource use by decoupling the growth from material extraction. So how we can, for example, really make the natural resources to breathe, to reshape again, to create a more sustainable future for all the people, especially to, as I said, to give the chance to the natural environment to restore the resources and protect it from the negative effects, especially from the industrialized waste. So the circular economy paradigm can be realized through the adoption of circular business models. So that's why this is very important, a very important component of this approach or this paradigm. So such business models replace the traditional end life concept with reducing, sometimes reusing, recycling, and recovering materials in production, distribution, and consumption processes. So according to the World Economic Forum, cities need to find new ways to address the waste. So all the waste that we are producing. So it's not new for us that the population in the cities, the urban population is increased, but what are the effects of that augmentation of the population? So we have, for example, more energy consumption, we have more levels of resources extraction, we have also more levels of tons of solid waste, but at the same time we have that the material consumption is growing. So how we can avoid to use, for example, virgin or natural resources all the time that we are developing new products. So internationally, this concept has been applied by different countries, different cities, and there are different types of the circular business model to help really the realization of the circular economy. So we have, for example, the circular supply models to change the use of traditional material derived from virgin resources. So we are not using all the time these new resources. The resource recovery models to recycle waste into secondary raw materials. We have also product life extension models to extend the use of period of existing products. We have also this sharing model to facilitate the sharing of underutilized products, and also product service system models to improve incentives for green product design and use. So I think that some of you have seen, for example, say in some of the big companies such as Tesco, that you normally want to buy some fruits and you have that they have some discounts, especially for not very good quality fruits. So they have these new packages, new like discounts, lower prices, and they are using this this way of introducing the products that they are not going to sell directly at the higher value with the people that maybe need it by using these circular business models. But when we are applying these circular business models in the companies, we have seen that in different countries that is not going just to change the way that we are selling the products, the way that we are designing the products. It changed the overall production of the new products that we wanted. So what is happening really in Ireland? So what we have seen in Ireland is that the traditional linear economy model in Ireland of take, make, use, and dispose have resulted in socioeconomic and environmental challenges. So until now, we have seen that there are different policies, new policies from the government that establish the need of these circular business models. So all these Irish reports have set out the needs, the economic reasoning, but also the policy direction, so where the country wants to go with the circular business models. And we have seen also that although these circular business models policies are defined and established, is now the time to the next different task to transform this into the knowledge base. So to know really what are the circular business models that can apply for Ireland, and also to help the companies on the implementation that facilitates the practical objectives, align it with these national strategies and policies. So this is a key important element to know how, for example, the companies can comply with the regulations for the circular economy in Ireland. So in the right side, we see one of the examples of the policies in Ireland. We saw that what are the different stages, for example, for a circular business model where we are not just collecting, for example, all the waste that we can have from the different products. If not, we are recycling these products, and also they are using it again during the design of other products, other materials. We have seen some cases in Ireland, especially in this national policy, that are focusing on specific areas. For example, the way that the waste is produced in our houses, in different businesses, how we can really make it not just collecting the recycling, if not how we can reuse them. So it's happening again in other sectors such as the food waste, which is very important to understand that the food can be, for example, distributed for other people, say for certain people that are in poverty. So that's important that we can help them. And also we can work on other areas such as the plastic, the packaging, for example, the use of a single plastic. Also in other areas such as the construction and demolition waste, where is the highest level of waste produced in Ireland. This is highlighted, but many of the regulations and documents, Irish documents, that they see that there is a problem in the construction engineering, for example, how we can really reuse the waste because they are highest levels of waste, demolition waste produced by these companies. So as there is this gap in Ireland of the implementation, so how the companies can make it real, so how they can move from this linear economy model to a circular business models. So we propose a value-centric approach for circular business model innovation, which is our project that supports the design and the implementation of circular business models by reviewing and evaluating resource and climate gains of different circular business models that are gaining traction internationally. So we know that every country, every city is different. So these circular business models can be implemented at different levels. For example, we have at the micro level, say the products, the consumers, the companies, but also at the macro level where we have the different cities, the different nations and beyond. So how we can implement them in Ireland, having into account that all the countries, or some countries such as Switzerland or the Netherlands, for example, are the leaders in these business economy models. It's just to apply what other countries are doing, or is to really understand what is the context of Ireland and to understand what are the socioeconomic and environmental challenges in Ireland. So that's why our project vision started to see. So we are going to start with a critical review and evaluation of the circular business models to understand what elements from the existing circular business model from other countries can be applied in Ireland, taking into account, as I said, the characteristics and the context of Ireland. So it's important also the identification of recommendations for suitable circular business models for Ireland. It involves recommendations for a cross-section of relevant Irish industrial sectors. As we saw in the previous slide, there are different sectors where the policies want to go, but also we are trying to understand the commonalities of those different sectors to help the companies in these different domains to know how they can move from that linear economy model to the circular business models. So we know, or you know probably, that our Innovation Value Institute is focusing also on the development of different tools. So we have a toolkit that is called Enterprise Modeling Toolkit that we develop with the help also of the practitioners, especially in the areas of waste management internationally, but also other case studies, practitioners with other knowledge that help us to create that tool. And this tool is a tool that we also want to implement for the definition of these business models. So our vision tool will be developed using our enterprise modeling toolkit. But what is the importance of that tool? So that tool can help us first to understand what, or to implement the specific characteristics of the business models for Ireland. What are, for example, the materials? What are the consequences of implementing a specific circular business model? For example, what are the climate gains in each implementation? So we can really see, design it, or we can design those models specifically for the different enterprises in Ireland. So also we have a model data that will be obtained from business partners and will be used to design the vision tool and to verify circular business models. When we are saying that we are going to verify those circular business models, it's important that that there is that connection between what we have in the strategy and in the policies at the national level with our circular business models in each company. So it should be any kind of compliance and also alignment with these existing policies and strategies at the national level. So our team in the Innovation Value Institute is working also on that direction, on the verification of the circular business models that can be automated. So our vision tool will also be used to design specific circular business models with the input from business partners as a demonstrator activity that will be a vehicle to promote our results. So we have been in contact with some companies, especially in the area of the construction sector, but also in the area of the transportation in Ireland. That is going to be used as input to validate our results, but also to see how we can implement these circular business models in other sectors to be a more generalized approach in our implementation of our vision project. And the idea is also to inform the government and the industry and the public through the online communications, strategies, briefs, conference, and crowdsourcing events. As we can see in the right side, we have an established project with different components. The central element is the definition of this circular business model demonstration for Ireland. And other elements, as explained before, are related to, for example, say, the development of our tool, the literature review behind of the circular business models, the work with the practitioners. So our team for this project is part of the business school, but also from the computer sciences school, where we have the skills to develop the software tool and also to work with the people, with the practitioners, as we have learned from other projects such as the Smart City projects, where we have a similar approach that we use in Ireland, but also internationally in other settings. I think that's all. I'm happy to discuss with you and also to receive any kind of questions that you can have about this new project in the Innovation Value Institute.
Hi, Viviana. Thank you very much for the presentation. Very interesting project and very topical. And one question about the project, and if I have time, and another question, but okay, I will leave the space to other. Do you think in the project that, so if you change from this linear business model to this circular business model, not the type of partners, but the partners, the different stakeholders will change, maybe can change, because for example, if there is a company that provides you with a raw material and then you need some material that is recycled, maybe you will change the company that is providing you that material. And at the same time, for example, if there are customers that were buying your product that was created with the raw material, maybe there you will have other customers that, because your product will change, maybe yes, maybe not, will change slightly or much about by changing the material that you are using. So how do you see this? So are you taking into account, how do you take into account that the business partner, what you call the business partners, could change by changing the business model from linear to circular?
Yeah, so thanks, Marco, for the question. So we have seen that as we are working with different sectors, and the idea is to have a proposed circular business model for Ireland that take into account the different sectors. It's not going to be just for one sector. So we are going to try to involve the specific, for example, concepts, elements that are important for the case of Ireland, but for the practical part. So we aim to have these partners where we can validate our findings. And as we have seen, like in the overall digital transformation, sometimes it's not just to change a small part of the business, or all the operating model, for example, that is behind of these circular business models can change. So it's going to be as a kind of instantiation of our circular business model for Ireland, for a particular company, for example, where of course we can demonstrate that our approach or our vision results are applied in that context, but also we can see if are other elements that can be important for that particular sector. So it's taking into account the specifics of each company, of each sector, but also to validate with them what is needed in that sector, and to help them in the implementation. And that's why the models are very important, because when we are changing from the linear to the circular business models, we are affecting different elements in the company. So that's why our software tool, our vision tool, is important to show those changes and to have the traceability of those transformations. So what is happening if we are not going to, for example, send the waste to another recycling company? If not, we are going to use directly. So how we are going to change this? Those elements or those transformations can be seen in the models that we can design by using our modeling tool.
Okay, thanks.
No more questions.
I have another, if nobody else. Just quick question, because you were talking about food waste. It's very important. And I don't know if you you know of because I know, of course, when that you can kind of distribute food that is kind of aspiring date to other people, just not to get wasted. But do you know of industry of companies that kind of recycle? I don't like you recycle. You create plastic from the food, so that they are kind of restoring the food, so that, for example, the expiry date can be extended by just reassembling. I don't know what is the term. Doing something on the food so that it can be can last more and so can be used again. Do you know if there is something about that?
Yeah, so there are some companies. I know this at the international setting. So I know that there are some companies and also some initiatives that are starting to work on, for example, as I said, depending on the quality of the fruits, of the vegetables, they establish a new kind of basket of products specific, for example, as a lower cost. That is happening in some companies in Europe, but also, for example, in Latin America, I have seen that there are some initiatives from the no government institutions that they are helping the poor people with this food. So say they are going to go directly to the producers, say the farmers, for example, that they also have these requirements of quality, but also they lose a lot of food. They waste a lot of food because the quality is not good for the companies where they sell it. So these, for example, institutions are helping directing the farmers to have this, to reuse these products, or to sell the products as a lower cost, or for the people that really need it. So certainly in Ireland, this is also something that is happening, but this is also needed to understand that and to see what the impact of this, say, in terms of, for example, the value that they are producing, and also in terms of the socio-economic impact that can be produced as well.
Okay, thanks. I leave space to the other.
Thanks, Marco.
Hi, can you hear me, Vivian?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I had a quick question. So I was wondering, in terms of project, are you going to link the outcomes with the impact, sector-wise impact of them? So you're saying that you will look at different sectors, food, electric waste, and things like that. So are you planning to look at the impact of your outcomes with the, let's say, waste reduction in food, or waste reduction in electronic products, or things like that?
I didn't catch very well the audio. I don't know.
Come in?
No, there is some noise in the audio. Yeah.
There's noise in the audio.
Or if you can write just the question in the chat, so I can.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think so. It's better.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I'll type it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, Viviana, this is Mansoor. A great presentation and good work. I was just wondering if, for example, the business strategy with regard to sustainability, it is currently quite dominating by eco-efficiency approach. So that seeks simultaneously that will reduce the cost and environmental impacts using tactics such as waste minimization or reuse kind of things. Do you also consider those in your model as well? Those are the parameters for that?
Yeah, so as I said in the presentation, it's important to have that critical literature review to consider what is really something that can be applied for Ireland. So of course we have seen, say, even from the smart cities transformation implementation, that it's not just about, we are not talking just about the smart cities, we are talking also about sustainable cities, where there are some of these elements that are being considered. But when we are talking about these circular business models, it's really that the way that we are producing value is changing. So it's probably not just about the services, for example, in the smart cities, sustainable cities that we offer that are going to be using for reducing the sustainable impact. It's not in this case that really the model is changing, the business model is changing. So the idea is to have those considerations in the starting phase of our project to see what should be considered, what should be the scope, where we are looking at, and our first kind of guidelines are those policies in Ireland that already are being defined, but there is a gap between what we really want, or what the country want to achieve, and how the companies can implement them, and then to see how we can comply with those policies and regulations. So that's something that we are going to address in the first stage of our project.
Okay, thanks. That's great. Thank you.
Okay, so if we don't have, we have any other question? I don't know if.
You have in the chat, Viviana, that
yeah, there's one in the chat.
Let me see.
Do you want me to read it out to you?
Yeah, I can have it now. I have it now.
Oh, good.
The question is, do you plan to link the outcome of project with impacts in different sectors? Yeah, so the idea is to have this project and the circular business models in general for different sectors, and to have a demonstrator or different demonstrator projects with different companies that are interested in this implementation of the circular business models. We have been in contact with some of these companies, especially one priority in Ireland is the construction sector, where there is really like more waste per year that is a problem now, and we need to consider. We have this as a starting point, and also we are going to go in that direction. But the idea is to have the link, as you said, of our outcomes with the different sectors. Okay, yeah, we will review it. Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I will check it. Thanks very much for the questions, Intrec and WE. Yeah, thank you.
So thanks very much, Viviana, for a really great session. And thanks to everyone for attending. Just to let you know, we will be having Rayhan Iftikhar from our digital retail cluster presenting next week. And our IVI Summit tickets will be open for registration in the coming days. So you can keep an eye on the IVI website for updates on that. Thanks very much, everyone.